Most people know Cusco because of one thing, and that's Machu Picchu. They come here, they take pictures, and then they leave. But very few ask the deeper question, which is what sustains life in this region long after the tourists are gone? And in order to really answer this question, you need to understand coffee. So today in this video, I'm going to share everything you need to know about coffee in the Cusco region. Not from a textbook, not from a cafe menu, but from a local perspective. From the land, from the people, from the farmers that actually grow the coffee and the plant. I'll explain where Cusco's coffee actually comes from, why places like Santa Teresa matter, and how climate change is already affecting the coffee here today. So that next time you travel to Machu Picchu or drink a coffee from the region, then you're not just a visitor, you're informed about your impact. A little bit about Cusco. Cusco sits high in the Andes, in the mountain range. But coffee doesn't grow in the city itself. To find coffee, you have to descend from the high mountains into the cloud forests, into more warmer, wetter valleys on the eastern side of the Andes, where the Andean ecosystem begin to merge with the Amazon, otherwise known as the Ceja de Selva. That's where we end up in Santa Teresa. Santa Teresa is located in the northwest of Cusco, near one of the main routes that travelers use to get to Machu Picchu. Now, millions of people pass nearby every day. Very few stop in Santa Teresa, yet this region plays a critical role in Cusco's agricultural economy. If you really want to understand what coffee means for the Cusco region, not just as a drink, but as a livelihood, you have to go to the farm. That's why today we go on a specific coffee farm tour here in Santa Teresa to walk the land, to see the plants, and to learn directly from the farmers on how coffee is being affected by climate and the economics that are connected behind it. Coffee is a plant that needs certain elevations to be able to grow. With climate change, what's happening is that climate change is putting more pressure, higher temperatures on those elevations that are needed. So that means that the land that's available to grow this coffee is becoming slimmer and slimmer, meaning less and less land. And what that means is that when we have more demand with more people for coffee, and we have coffee that is less and less available due to climate change, then we're gonna have a plant that is gonna become more and more expensive, meaning what I would say the gold of the future. So let's go find out more about it.
Sí, tres ahí, ¿eh? Welcome to Wild Coffee.
Mi nombre es Pablo. Yo soy el presidente de una asociación de productores de café. Ya hemos empezado con 40 productores y ahorita ya somos 200 productores.
Entonces, aparte del turismo, el café es la industria más grande.
Sí,
acá.
el café.
Oh, okay.
Ese mueve una economía grande.
Now, for some basics for those who don't know, coffee comes from a plant called coffea, a flowering shrub that originated from East Africa in what is now modern-day Ethiopia. What we drink as coffee is not a bean. It's a seed inside a fruit known as the coffee cherry. Each cherry usually contains 2 seeds, what we call coffee beans. Coffee plants are extremely sensitive. And what do I mean by that? They need stable temperatures, they need consistent rainfall, they need rich and well-drained soil, and a very predictable season.
Desde un principio mayormente ha afectado a los cafés arábicos en esta zona. Entonces, lo que en esta zona nos ayuda es el piso altitudinal, que desde los 1800 sí tenemos todavía esa oportunidad de poder seguir plantando cafés arábicos. A partir de los 1800 no nos afecta la roya amarilla.
Here in Santa Teresa, coffee is grown roughly between 1,600 to 2,300 meters above sea level. Now, this range is critical. Coffee is grown at a lower altitude will face greater pressure from pests and disease. Whereas if you're at a higher altitude and cooler temperatures, those temperatures will slow down the threat. A difference of just a few hundred meters can determine whether a harvest will succeed or it will fail. One of the biggest threats to coffee here in the coffee leaf rust, known locally as the roya del café. Roya is a fungal disease that spreads throughout microscopic spores. It attacks the leaves, not necessarily the beans that are used for the coffee. You see the orange rust color spots on the underside of the leaf is where this fungus is, and it's an infection that grows. Leaves fall early, the photosynthesis drops, the plants lose energy, and yields overall decline. So what this means is that in several years, farmers can lose from 30 to 50% of their harvest. La Roya thrives in warmer weathers, which is with climate change, high humidity, irregular rainfall. So now, what's key is that what's happening in Santa Teresa is not unique. Coffee is grown across the global coffee belt, which is a narrow zone around the equator that is spanning through Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Across this entire belt, farmers are asking the same question: can coffee survive climate change? Now, some scientists estimate that by 2050, climate change could make up to half of today's coffee growing regions unsuitable for traditional coffee cultivation. That means that 50% of the coffee we have today will not be available. Now, this threat is not only the threat towards this coffee right here, but also the livelihood of millions of farming families worldwide.
Y lo más importante, el café también necesita una sombra, ¿no? Por eso han plantado ese arbolito, se llama pacay mono. Entonces, eso da bastantes nitrógeno.
¿El pacay mono es un árbol nativo de aquí?
Sí, eso sí es un árbol nativo, ¿no?
Es más grande que el café.
Claro, va a crecer un árbol, entonces eso da bastante nitrógeno al café, las hojas, es bien compatible. Es el único árbol compatible a nivel de todos los otros árboles para el café. Va a ser a partir de los 2000 metros para arriba. Todos los cafés de especialidad que nosotros juntamos, que vamos a probar en diferentes variedades, va a ser de esas alturas.
Around the world, people are experimenting in some ways to adopt. Some are testing new coffee varieties that tolerate heat and drought, studying lesser-known coffee species, moving farms to higher elevations where there is cooler climates, or redesigning farms using agroforestry instead of monocultures. But here's the catch. A coffee plant is a tree. It takes 3 to 5 years to produce its first harvest and can retain productive years for more than 30 years. So the coffee planted today is the coffee we'll be drinking in 2050 and beyond. As land becomes less suitable, there's a risk farmers may feel pressure to expand into different areas, such as forests, protected ecosystems, and biodiversity-rich areas. Historically, large-scale coffee expansions have driven deforestation. Monocultures may boost short-term yields, but they rely heavily on fertilizers, irrigations, and chemicals, and they collapse under climate stress. And this is exactly where Santa Teresa stands apart. Here, coffee is not grown as an industrial monoculture, it's grown in complex living landscapes, often under shaded trees along other crops with existing ecosystems. Some farmers here use altitude as a natural climate buffer, shade from trees to cool the microclimate, biodiversity to reduce pests and diseases. This doesn't eliminate all the risks, it spreads it. And that is what resilience looks like.
Y también tanto el Estado está apoyando bastante el tema de la preocupación de la productividad, porque el café es un producto de exportación. Tenemos bastante apoyo de parte del Estado mediante lo que es financiamiento de agrobanco.
Now, let's dive a little bit into the economics and why finance matters. Coffee is one of the most traded commodities in the world. More than 2 billion cups are consumed every day, yet on average, only about 10% of the final price stays in the country where the coffee is grown. That's only 10%. Nearly half of all smallholder coffee farmers live in poverty. Adaptation costs money. Renovating a farm means paying labor, buying seedlings, maintaining the land, and waiting years for full production. And that's where options like Agrobanco, Peru's public agricultural bank, comes in. Farmers told us that Agrobanco provides low-interest loans supported by the government to help cover farm expenses. Without access to this finance, sustainability stays theoretical. Climate resilience requires financial resilience as well.
And I just wanted to say, having worked as a lender in the agriculture space, I just wanted to acknowledge that it is very difficult to create access to capital for farmers because farmers have so many things to do already, and getting them up to speed on finances and the whole world behind it, the language behind it, is a difficult challenge.
What did you learn about coffee today?
Oh, a lot. This is a complete science. It's not just drinking coffee and wake up and being wired. You have to understand where this come from and how much work these guys put it together. Temperatures, altitudes, climate change, everything. It's so much work involved.
That I won't drink dark coffee anymore.
Okay.
Because that's the worst. Yeah.
I learned that we all have different sense of smell and we smell different things. And someone that's been working around coffee definitely knows what they're smelling. We don't.
I don't know. I would like to learn more which one is the special coffee, most the flavor. Now you're going to recognize which one is the best coffee. Okay?
Now, to me personally, there's a big piece of systems thinking with coffee. Coffee tells one of the clearest stories of climate change in the global south. It connects climate science, biodiversity, global consumption, as well as farmer livelihoods, and all of this is involved in economic justice. This farm in Santa Teresa that we visited shows us that coffee is not just a beverage, it's a system. So what questions do you have remaining about coffee in the Andes region and in the Cusco region? What is it that you learned about coffee in this video? Please drop me a comment or a like. Otherwise, I invite you to subscribe to the channel where I'm fostering a network of 1,000 other environmentalists in the Andes region so that we can create a more regenerative future. I will see you in the next video. Peace.
¿Cómo se baila?